No. All right, we're on.
Welcome to the Utah Senate Legislative Update. Today is Country and Western Day in the Senate, if you haven't noticed. We're working on House bills today, and I think we'll just go to any questions, or do we have any comments?
You can tell a real cowboy because there's sweatbands around his. Oh, there's no sweatbands.
My grandfather told me never hire an individual with a straw hat or tie-up boots, because they'll either be tying their shoes or chasing their hat. Any questions?
Great words of wisdom.
Is that Chugger Neater has for shoes?
It was my grandfather Neater has, right? Yes. Go ahead.
Well, we've been hearing about Senator Shiozawa's health care plan to cover the coverage gap. Some have called it the Senate plan, some have called it a Senate plan. Is the Senate coalescing around this plan?
We are continuing to try to discover where the Senate is on this issue. We see it as four options: no expansion, full expansion, the House expansion, and Senator Shiozawa's bill, which is really what came out of the task force, Health Systems Reform Task Force. We have not landed on any one of those yet. We are actually going to spend some time tonight in an additional caucus to try and decide where we're going to be as a Senate Majority Caucus.
I asked this one yesterday. Do you guys think you'll have a conclusion?
I'm hoping. I am hoping that we'll have a conclusion. We've spent a lot of time in caucus. It's a real complicated issue. There's a lot of I don't know if I would say moving parts, but I would say that there's just a lot of unknowns, a lot of questions that we have are more crystal ball questions than something we can find facts or data on. So Senator Adams will be leading the discussion tonight, and we'll hopefully have something for you if you want to stick around, or tomorrow.
Is Senator, maybe I should ask them, they're not here, but is Senator Shiozawa's bill, is it exclusive of Senator Christensen's bill? Because as I understand it, Senator Christensen's looking at expanding charity care. Can you do that parallel with Senator Shiozawa's?
We can do Senator Christensen's charity care option with all of those four proposals. So they're not mutually exclusive.
The budget process is moving along. There's not much time left for new requests, as I understand it. So there's not really a chance. It seems as though there wouldn't be a chance for a proposal to move forward that would require a certain amount of state funds. Is that true?
Well, the budget is not that solid in the fact that if the choice were made by the caucus that they want to do one of these other things, we just have to find the money to do it. And so it'd be a challenge. But we haven't solidified, because I've said there's two issues that we need to resolve globally. One is Medicaid and how we expand that, and the second issue is technology in the schoolroom. So it's called 121 or whatever that technology is. We have to set aside some money to cover either a contingency that may happen.
So, and that's possible, that there could be tens of millions of dollars found and set aside for this?
Well, when I say found, they'd be taken out of other programs. I don't think we'll. The other is a tax increase, and that's not likely. But you need to understand, with the tax increase, you don't get the money tomorrow. It takes some time for the tax collections to be put in place and collected. So I'm not looking at tax increase. I think we just haven't solidified some of the big budgets in the anticipation that if they turn to me and say, find me $200 million, I guess I'll find it, but people won't be too happy where I find it.
The next 2 years, I think Medicaid expansion, if we were to go to the Medicaid expansion, is not all that costly, because the bulk of that is paid by the feds for the next couple of years. So it really doesn't become a major budget issue until about 2017, I think it is.
I think if we do that, if I understand, the administration costs are $2 or $3 million that would have to be found on.
are how much did you say?
It's
2 or 3 million.
it's actually the numbers we saw were 4 million, but that's on full expansion, so it might be different under Senator Shiozawa's bill.
And he's supposed to be in here in a few minutes.
Okay. Do we have any text questions?
Yep, we sure do. This is a real life question. Jason Williams wants to know if the Senate is excited about the new Godzilla movie. Anyone?
Well, Jason, that's a great question. It's good that you're being involved in our transparent process here. I'm not a big movie goer. Who is
Well, apparently
up on the
Jason has
Godzilla,
time to go to Godzilla.
the new Godzilla movie? Maybe one of the interns could answer that. Godzilla movie, anyone?
I didn't know there was one.
I saw the trailer.
Under our rules,
Okay, we have one that has seen the
trailer.
trailer.
I thought I was in one this morning, but it was just an appropriation thing.
Okay, thank you, Jason. All right, any other questions?
Leadership meeting this morning, did you guys, what was on the agenda?
We didn't have a leadership meeting this
I
morning.
thought you had joint leadership this morning.
That's tomorrow morning.
Cancel.
No, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays.
All right.
Unless we knew you were going to ask about it, then we switched it up.
We have Senator Shiozawa here,
I see.
and our majority leader.
Whip, I think I will step to the other side of the room.
Our majority leader is carrying the whip instead of our whip.
May I sit by the president?
Yes.
You're not the whip, I think you missed your calendar.
We have Senator Shiozawa here to talk about his Medicaid bill. So take any questions.
Why is your bill better than the House bill that's been presented?
Well, this bill is distinctly different than the House bill. Now, my understanding of the House bill, as I heard it presented and as I've seen it on record, is that it will give the state flexibility. And to achieve that flexibility, the state will then put in $30 to $35 million every year to fund and cover the coverage gap or the donut hole of 54 to 7, maybe 60,000 Utahns. What it doesn't do is require any money from the federal government to do so, or at least not that we're seeing so far when they go through the PCN or the UPP program. So that's my understanding of the House bill. Now, the Senate bill that I am proposing would ask the federal government, and this, by the way, is in line with the Health Reform Task Force. This is an option that they considered. And what this is a partial expansion. This would cover the coverage gap up to 100% of the FPL. These are the poorest of the poor who ironically got left out of the Affordable Care Act. Even those at 100% and on, up to 400%, get tax credits. But for some reason, these poor people at 54 to 60,000 people didn't get any type of coverage. What this bill will do will require that we claw back some of that $895 million we pay out annually now to the ACA and bring it back for the citizens of Utah.
So I think there is some clarification on the House proposal. The House proposal is an expansion of UP and the PCN, and those pull down federal dollars. Now we've heard that could be called, maybe an expansion just because they may be pulling down federal dollars, but we've also heard that they might be proposing that we don't pull any federal dollars down with the expansion of those programs. So we're not sure. I don't know if anybody's heard what the exact proposal is from the House, but
Aren't UPP and PCN 30/70 matches?
yes, they are.
And Senator Shiozawa's bill is a 90/10, is that right?
Yes, 100% and then 90/10.
Right.
So Sanpei was saying that the proposal does use federal dollars, but if the feds did not want to be involved, it could go forward as it is.
Okay, that's a good clarification. Thank you.
You gave a dollar figure just a second ago. I think about how many tax dollars are being pulled back from the state for your plan.
Well, what we would do is, understanding first the outflow, under the ACA, our estimates are $895 million annually. Now that's from Utah to the federal government, forms of various taxes. whether it's on hospitals, excise taxes, Cadillac taxes,
Premium taxes.
and it goes on and on.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what we're trying to do is claw back that money from the federal government up to 500 to 600 millions of dollars annually.
Some, like Becky Lockhart, have said they don't trust the federal government to fund this and to continue to fund it. What are your thoughts on that? Why do you think it's important to take these federal dollars?
I think this is a common sense decision. I'm not sure that I necessarily trust the federal government to do this indefinitely. They've changed on Medicare Advantage, for example. And so it's possible that funding could change. It could change with the change in administration. But for 3 more years, we have President Obama, who's made this a signature part of his administration. And so he's going to defend this bill. And so it's likely that we'll continue for the next, at least for the foreseeable future, paying out these enormous amounts of tax dollars to the federal government. So let's take some of them back for the citizens of Utah and care for our own people. And we can do it for less state money than, say, the House bill.
Is there like a circuit breaker, an escape hatch in your bill if the money doesn't start coming through?
That's exactly right. There is. In fact, there's actually 2 circuit breakers. The first circuit breaker is that if the federal government does not continue to fund this, then we can back out of that program. The other circuit breaker is when we go to the federal government, we're going to say we want the full expansion money, or that is that premium subsidy. So we're going to ask for 100% initially, the 95 to 5, and then to the 90-10 as it
With that,
well, we'll find out. The advantage of this is that if we take this to what we haven't done yet to present to the Secretary is what? We haven't taken them a signed bill that says this is Utah law. We can show you that we stand behind this Utah plan and that we want these waivers. President Obama just 2 days ago said he is willing to negotiate with our own governor. Now let's hold him to that. Let's see if he'll negotiate. And those would be the conditions that we would want in this proposal. That is my proposal. I can't speak for the entire Senate.
I understand you've been talking to the governor about this. Are you on the same page with the governor? Are you in agreement about what should happen here?
Well, I would love to say that I'm always on this 100% with him, but I can't. He's going to come up with his own proposal. My hope is that it's very similar, but that's his decision. I have conferred with him and the lieutenant governor. They know what's in the bill. They've had a chance to review it.
The 100% is, I guess, a request you're making to HHS, right? Because I think if I understand right, under the Arkansas waiver, they didn't get 100%. Is that right, or am I wrong?
No, I think under the Arkansas waiver they did get that, but they also went to 133. Okay. And that's the difference here is we're going to 100% of the FPL. Part of this is to address that coverage gap. And so that's one of the conditions we'd asked for. Let's get 100% just as if we went to 133.
That will require a waiver from the full expansion.
Right.
The one thing is the states that have asked for a waiver at this point have been turned down. So those waivers have not been granted at 100%. You're under your, in the state of Utah, it'd be a 70-30 match. So you're kind of stuck with that. It's in there. And part of doing a clawback, a total clawback, I think one of the downsides on that, if I might, is the fact that it may take congressional action to be able to do that. Because the amount of money is there, and that is in law, that would have to be changed. And I don't know if that's given it under the waiver abilities of the HHS.
Senator Chiazzo, can you speak to this as you're an ER doctor? I assume you probably see people come into the ER room occasionally who are uninsured and that would be covered system generally.
Well, that's a broad question, but let me just make a general observation. The first is, I work in a hospital that sees about 25 to 30% uninsured every day. So it's not a question of if we see them, but how many we do in a given day and night. And there are many hospitals that see even greater proportions to this. And the Medicaid expansion would help those hospitals with this disproportionate share so they could get some more federal funding. In terms of just what it would mean to these patients, it could be life-saving. This could be preventative care, primary care, and frankly for us as citizens who have, fortunately, insurance, it would result in less cost shifting from us to them.
I think there's also another clarification. Senator Davis brought up that you could expand. I think you could even expand into this population before the ACA if you wanted to do the 70-30. And I guess that's always a fallback position, but the way I understand Senator Shiozawa's bill is that this is, we're asking for the 100% and the 90-10 split, and if they don't grant that, then we would have to come back and then discuss whether we would accept 70-30 or whether we wouldn't expand or whether we would fully expand. But his bill, if signed by the governor, passed by the legislature, would go. This is what Utah wants to do, and if the feds reject that, then we would be back discussing our options at that point.
And it's not to expand traditional Medicaid, it would be premium assistance for those in that population, right?
Well, it would certainly make that available to them as one of the waivers we'd want, is under this enhanced premium, we'd encourage them to get private insurance.
Why is charity care not, in your mind, a viable option?
Charity care is an essential part of our healthcare system, and in fact, that's what we've been doing for decades. And it's wonderful to see the free clinics. I've been to free clinics. We support free clinics, but our population is growing, and so our uninsured population is growing. It's just not enough. Even with the donated care and all of the other good things that they intend to do, we cannot care for this patient group, and it's inadequate on just that basis, despite good intentions.
Any other questions?
We had a tweet just come in.
Oh, wait, what is it?
We have a tweet.
And I have 2 text questions as well. Me first or you last? Okay. One person wants to know about what your all-time favorite service projects are. Anyone?
Senator Valentine, do you have
Are they
one?
talking personally?
You had a smile on your face like you might have had something.
I can tell you, I've been involved as an Eagle Scout advisor for a number of years, and I could just list off a number of those Eagle projects that I've seen young men and their groups do, not only for the service they've rendered, but what they've learned out of it. And there's too many of those to list.
And my personal favorite projects are some of the Sup for Santas that we do around Christmas time.
My personal favorites were some trail maintenances we've done for Eagle projects. We go into the areas that have highly used trails that have fallen apart, and we take scout groups for Eagle projects and do trail maintenance. And I love that because it restores trails and gives us some long-lasting benefits.
Anybody else?
Service programs from my local Rotary Club.
Okay, yeah. Rotary Club does some tremendous service, humanitarian service.
I like to support the Road Home and that group. It's organized and it reaches out to so many people on so many levels, medically, social work, as well as a place to stay.
My family have sat down with children at the Road Home and read to them at night, and that's been a great service.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
Great question.
We have another question. This is from Curtis Herring with Utah Political Capital. He says, as mentioned, tonight is the LGBT legislative meeting. Who among the caucus plans to attend?
Well, we've not polled the caucus. We've announced that the meeting's there. I plan to attend.
I'll be there.
Is anybody else planning to attend? Okay. So it looks like we'll have at least 4 or 5 and hopefully more from the Senate. Good question. The tweet?
No, the one you read, it was from UServe Utah about service
Okay.
projects.
Awesome.
Any other comments? Okay. Thank you very much.